Now we're going to bring this work into your workbook. And this week is a really important shift because up until now, a lot of the work has been around awareness. It's been about noticing patterns, understanding your nervous system, and recognising where your behaviours have come from. But this week, we start to focus on what happens in real life because this work only becomes transformational when it becomes something that you actually practice. So this week is not about getting everything perfect, and it's not about never falling into those old patterns again. It's about becoming more conscious in the moments that matter. So as you move through the workbook this week, I want you to approach yourself with honesty and some patience. Your nervous system is learning something new, and it takes repetition. So with the pre-call reflection, you're repeating patterns. I want you to have a look at that section. It's designed to help you notice the patterns that still show up most often, where you still tend to react automatically, what situations activate those old responses, and where you struggle to stay connected to yourself in real time. And as you answer, I want you to notice something important. Not just what you do, but when and why it tends to happen. Because patterns often become strongest under stress, during conflict, where you feel vulnerable, and when fear and discomfort is activated. That awareness matters. So the next part is I want you to move into your pattern interrupt exercise. This is where the embodiment really begins. Because instead of only reflecting afterwards, you start to identify what happens in the moment before the automatic behaviour takes over. You'll begin noticing things like the thoughts that appear, the physical sensations in your body, the emotions that activate the pattern, and the behaviours you automatically move towards. And then you begin practicing a different response. Not a perfect one, just a more conscious one. So this week you might notice a bit of frustration kicking in because you might realise how automatic some of the patterns still are. And you might notice yourself still people-pleasing before you've realised you're doing it, shutting down automatically, overthinking instantly, or over-explaining without meaning to, and then abandoning your needs in those stressful moments. It doesn't mean you're failing, it means your nervous system is still practicing familiarity, and this week is about interrupting that gently. So stay compassionate with yourself. It's really, really important that you don't turn this awareness into self-criticism. The goal is not, I should have done this perfectly. It is, I noticed it sooner than before. That is progress. Because healing is not linear, and embodiment happens gradually. Remember, your nervous system changes through repeated experiences, so don't focus on huge breakthroughs this week. Focus on small moments of conscious choice. That's how the change becomes sustainable. As with the previous weeks, I recommend completing these exercises within 48 hours of the session, but noticing patterns throughout the week. So this week is less about finishing the workbook and more about observing yourself in real life. The bigger purpose is that we're closing the gap between what you know and how you actually live. Because transformation happens when awareness, nervous system safety, and aligned action start working together consistently. And that's what embodiment is. If you notice something powerful this week, share it in the community. Not just the wins, the moments you've caught yourself mid-pattern, because often these are the most important moments of all, and we can celebrate them with you. You might share how you've noticed that you're about to people please, but you paused, that you caught a pattern earlier than you normally would, or that you chose differently for one moment. Those bits matter. And remember, you don't need to embody everything perfectly. Never feel triggered again, or always respond consciously. We are still human. You just need to notice, pause, and choose differently. Slightly more often than before. That's how change is built. This week is about learning to trust yourself in real time, not just doing the journaling or the coaching calls, but in everyday moments where your life is actually happening. Because every time you interrupt an old pattern, you strengthen the version of you are becoming. And that is where embodiment truly begins.